Mitakuye Oyasi. Mitakuye Oyasi. Mitakuye Oyasi.
The most frequently repeated saying in our Lakota language is Mitakuye, which means we are all relatives. Our early Indian tribes were loving communities where sharing was highly regarded and selfishness was scorned. Sharing was a way of life for our communities and families, as a way of celebrating our deep spiritual link with one another. While European Americans are driven by beliefs of power, wealth, and ownership, the Lakota people believe that generosity is a virtue, a goodness. We believe that if there is one person in the community who is in need, then we are all in need. Today, there are many Native Americans with an urgent need for you to share our Indian generosity and goodness with one another, as many of our people require organ and tissue transplants to live without handicaps or even to survive. Transplants for Native Americans are far more successful when the donors are also Native American, so we must all come together to help our people. Here are some of our people's stories.
I've been having an eye problem ever since I was a little kid in school years, and they said they can do a corneal transplant. So I said, yeah, that's all I want. I said, I just want something to see I can do things right.
I caught some sort of a virus that didn't leave my system. They told me it was a virus. It attacked the heart muscle and it caused it to enlarge itself. It just never got any better. And so I went and seen a doctor, and that's when we found out I needed a heart transplant.
The vision in my eyes is just, it was progressively getting worse. Probably in '98, my regular eye doctor told me that I had this keratoconus is what it's called. And what it does is it just makes my eyes more cone-shaped. And the vision just got to the point where nothing would correct it. And it just progressed to the point where I needed the surgery.
Dr. Raven's been my doctor for a long time. And in '97, when I seen him, he told me my kidneys were still good for at least another 8 years. And then I got my back kicked. Then plus being diabetic, that's what caused my kidneys to give out.
When I was 16 years old, I was diagnosed with systemic lupus erythematosus, and it attacked my kidneys.
Dr. Raven came down for a consultation. He said, if I don't get this liquid off you in the next several hours, you're going to die of a heart attack. So I gradually decided to go for the dialysis, and since then I've been on dialysis. In all the treatments options, I prefer transplants because it gives me a chance at prolonging my life by 30 to 40 years.
There are hundreds of Native Americans who need transplants every year, especially kidney transplants. Most of you watching this video know someone on dialysis. Those of our people who need kidney transplants often look to family members first for donations. When family members are unable to donate for various reasons, then it is critical that we find our Native American people who are willing to donate a kidney.
The family members that I had were on dialysis passed away because of complications or something went wrong.
As I went through the process, I found out that in our country alone, there's usually about 55,000 people on a kidney donation waiting list, and people, of course, waiting for livers and hearts and lungs and all kinds of things. So there's a great need that isn't being met on an annual basis.
I've been talking to the family members to get them oriented in donating a kidney.
I know we have 150 dialysis patients that come into the hospital, and out of 150, we have 39 of those are Native Americans. I've been doing this job for about 6 years. I've known 2 patients here that have gotten kidneys.
I saw an article in the Rapid City Journal, and December of 2002 about a young lady in town that was on dialysis and needed a kidney transplant and was not having much luck finding one. So from the article I took that the family seemed to be kind of desperate and time was running out, and so I thought to myself, maybe I could do that.
The way that the doctors and everybody that I talked to said it was 1,000,000 to 1 shot that I would match with Austin because we're not blood related. And so then when it came down to it, well then I was a match, and then I had to make the decision on whether I wanted to go ahead with donating. So I made arrangements for the organ donation to go through.
On my father's side, I guess they were just looking for somebody to donate a kidney.
I know what it means for a patient that comes in here after they get a kidney, how happy they are, and they're talking about their life, they're talking about, gee, now I can go do this. Before that, they can't do anything.
My children thought it was a pretty neat thing. I guess I'd say they were proud. They thought that was all right.
So my father's life was a good enough deal for me.
But if I was to have a transplant, there was a few years back, I used to be a preacher, and if I could get a transplant, that's what I'd like to go back into, is to become a preacher, well, more or less someone trying to help out people spiritually.
When we pass away, several of our organs can save many Lakota and many of our other Native American relatives' lives. It is very easy to indicate that you wish to become an organ donor by signing the organ donation clause and by marking the box which has been added to our South Dakota driver's license. For our Native American people's sake, please consider doing this when getting or renewing your driver's license, and discuss this decision with your family to ensure your wishes are carried out.
I changed it on my driver's license. I made sure all my family knew that if I passed away instantly or unexpectedly, well, most people do, but yeah, if I can save somebody, if somebody could live longer because maybe my kidneys are healthy and they can use them, yeah.
When I get my driver's license, I'd always mark that I was willing to be a donor.
They can donate eyes, heart, liver, kidney.
I think everybody has that on their driver's license. My wife does, my mom does.
It truly is much easier than I would have thought it was.
When I got my license and stuff, I always said I'd be a donor, but I never really knew what that meant. Just always put yes. But when I found out, it's a real big decision, but it's real important to other people.
Organ and tissue donors improve the lives of others and help save lives every day. Someday, some of our Indian brothers and sisters, or some of our other Native American relatives' lives will be improved or prolonged because you took a moment to consider and made the decision to become a donor, helping to sustain the Lakota circle of life.
I can see things, I can do a lot of things. I like rodeo, so I want to try something to be one of the contestants. So I did. I went on, and in 1981, I got Old Man's Breakaway, first place. As long as I got that trophy, that's good enough for me with my eyes.
They put you to sleep. I remember counting back from starting at 10, and that was the last thing I remember. I woke up in cardiac care unit, and about 2-3 days later, I felt a lot better than what I had before I had the heart transplant.
There is someone out there that needs you because none of their family members can donate.
Things have become clearer in that eye. It makes me a little more active in the outdoors.
They said my life expectancy would be 5-7 years, and then something else would have to be done. But I got 14 years out of this, so it's not too bad. I appreciate every day.
I'm going to pray for the whole Lakota people. The sick people all over.
I believe if a person could get a transplant, they could go back to living their life, almost normal like they were.
Regardless of who it is, it's another human being, and that they need the tissues that you can give them to just live.
Just to help somebody in need, I guess. I think everybody should be like that.
And I think it's important for families to sit down and at least discuss it.
I encourage my mom, my dad, all my family members, and they're all willing.
Some people traditionally just don't believe in giving, but it's the ultimate way of giving back to other people.
One of the beliefs that I've heard is that if you give, you get back tenfold.
Giving of oneself is just the ultimate way of saying thank you to being created.
I encourage everybody to donate organs.
They say the rejection is much lower if you get an organ from one of your own family members or from your own genetic pool. Being Indian to Indian, black to black, Caucasian to Caucasian, Oriental to Oriental in that sense. So I definitely encourage that. That would be one big step for Native Americans as well as the organ donor system in South Dakota to step up and begin working with families and individuals at this level.
In 2003, the number of people in the United States who waited for transplants, 83,000. The number of people who died while waiting for transplants, 6,200. In 2003, the number of Native Americans who donated organs for transplants, 12.
There's one thing, we all need a kidney. And then some of us won't be lucky enough to have one or get one because things just don't work out for us. You have to live your life to the fullest with your, you got your family members and you got today. That's all you got. Well, live it. Be happy. You got this day, be happy. Because, we really don't know how much time we have.
Please carry on our tradition of giving by becoming an organ donor. It's important to discuss this decision with your family to ensure your wishes are carried out.
We are all family.
Okay.